Man, I can't tell you how many times I've had students come up to me and say, man, I'm having a really hard time spending time with my parents because when we're at the dinner table, they're on their phones. So this past summer, as I was a youth pastor, there was a young boy who lost his mom to illness. And it was his first time going somewhere without his entire family. It was him and his brother, and they were coming to summer camp. And the first 2 nights, let me tell you, it was really hard to get him to focus in the services and the games and stuff like that because he didn't want to be there. He was ready to go home. And I was on the phone with his dad constantly, and his dad was like, I really think he needs to be there. And I agreed with him. And so we worked out a system to where we were able to get him to a place where he was able to fall asleep, and then he'd wake up. And the last night service that we had, it was life-changing for him. He was able to release a lot of hurt and grief and frustration, and he was able to feel Jesus for the first time in a while. And for me, that's just one of many stories that I have been able to see and experience and be in the room when there is life change. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about this next generation and just seeing hundreds and hundreds of kids just running after Jesus and going all in and going from struggle to fully surrender to Jesus. And I think that's why, for me, in this episode, I want to talk about why the next generation needs hope. Why is it so important for this next generation to get the hope and the love of Jesus, not just by him, but how we could pave the way, how we can open up the doors for them to walk through that and receive hope from Jesus. I think the reality that we all need to understand is anxiety and depression rates are at an all-time high. Social media comparison is so crazy how kids will look at stuff and they'll see the fakeness of social media and they'll identify as that's who I need to be. And they'll compare themselves, well, my friend's doing this, but I have to do it this way too. And it's just really difficult. The pressure to succeed. There are so many ways that kids want to just be perfectionists. They want to make sure that they can't fail in anything. And so they struggle really hard with community and with social aspects because they've put themselves, either they've locked themselves in their house or in a library so they can work on their education and be absolutely perfect on it. Or let's say they're trying to do videos or there's certain things, whatever they do, they put it in a perspective of they have to be perfect at all the time, that there's no room for failure, there's no room. And so that puts a lot of pressure on them. And it's really disturbing to see how crazy students in this next generation get when they fail. And it's super sad to see. And so being able to see all that is really hard. And I think the one that everybody struggles with, there's family struggles and identity confusion. It's not just about surviving high school. It's about students are asking if life is even worth it. And I think that's why hope matters. I think for me, the reason why I'm so passionate about this new season of my life is I understand and I know the struggles that students go through. I've seen it over the last 5+ years alone since COVID of how amplified struggle is and how amplified people's problems are and how students are affected by that. And I think the biggest thing is we need to let students know and this next generation know that they matter. We want to see that hope is going to rise up in these students. We need to let them know that we care about them and they matter. Hope equals expectation plus confidence in something greater. Let me break it down. Expectation plus confidence in something greater equals hope. Let's look at Romans 15:13. It says this: May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him. If we want to have hope, you have to understand that the expectation and the confidence in something greater is what hope gives. When I lost confidence in myself, it was hope in God's plan that carried me. It was me knowing that I have hope in Jesus. Why? Because Jesus' expectation and confidence is way better than mine. But I need to have an expectation that I serve a God who loves me, and I need to have the confidence in something greater, who Jesus is to me. And that's where my hope is built on. My hope is building on, I know someone greater than me, and I'm confident in him, and his name is Jesus. And I know his expectations because they're always perfect. When I lost my confidence in myself, it was the hope in God's perfect plan that carried me. Why does the next generation need hope? For students, listen, it gives you purpose, knowing that your life matters. It gives you resilience, the strength to keep going when life gets hard. And the third is vision, the courage to dream beyond current circumstances. You want to dream big, you want to see something, you want hope rise in your soul and in your life, you have to focus on purpose, resilience, and vision. How can we as adults in this next generation bring hope to those that are coming up behind us? Here's what I want to say. For students, let me speak to you for a second. Surround yourself with the right voices. Whoever has your ear has influence. So who's speaking into your life really actually matters. Take small steps towards your goals. I think the problem is too many people want to get to point A to point D, but they skip B and C. And so instead of jumping from one side to the other, what if you were to take a step? Hey, I want to get an A+ in this test. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to study this one portion. Okay, next I'm going to study this portion. Okay, now I'm going to study both of them together. We make small steps towards our goals. Don't let mistakes define you. Don't let mistakes define you. You are not the mistakes that you have made. You are not what people have said about you. And you are not the hurt or the triggered past that has led you into depression and anxiety. You are not your past. So don't let the mistakes define who you are. And when you continue to make mistakes, because it will happen for the rest of your life, don't get stuck on them, but learn from them and keep moving forward. Now, to the adults and the listeners and the leaders and youth pastors that are listening and watching this, here's how we can bring hope to this next generation. Be present. Be present. Man, I can't tell you how many times I've had students come up to me and say, man, I'm having a really hard time spending time with my parents because when we're at the dinner table, they're on their phones. It's hard for me to hang out with my youth leaders or my youth pastors because they're constantly on their phones or they're constantly hanging out with other youth leaders. And so it's hard. It's hard for me to hang out with them. Let me just say this. Parents, if you want your students to still honor you, respect you, and build real long relationships with you, be present. When you're home, don't turn on work. Don't be on your phone during the dinner table. Be present. I got to go hang out with a family about a month ago, and I'm not even kidding. All their phones were in a completely different room, all on the table over there. And they all came to the dinner table, and they sat together. And I honestly have not seen a family have such incredible conversations with one another because they weren't distracted by what's around them. They were present with each other. And watching the parents and the students react with each other was so cool. It was so powerful. So if you want to bring hope, be present and be there for them. Our jobs as leaders and ministry leaders and people of influence, teachers, our job is just to love them and show up for them. That's how we be present. The second one is this. Encourage more than you correct. Encourage them way more than you correct them. I think the problem is students will lose trust in you if all you do is correct them from the mistakes that they've made. They'll stop showing up to your ministry if you just call them out for all their junk that they've made. If we were to love them and show up for them, we have to encourage them. If we want to give hope to this next generation, if we even want them to trust us, we have to encourage them. We have to build relationship with them so that when there is time for correction, they trust us because they've spent time with us. They've been encouraged by us. They've been prayed over by us. They've been strengthened by us. So now we can say, hey, can we talk about this real quick? If you just go and you correct them all the time, you'll lose them. They'll not come back. They'll be done. But encourage them more than you correct them. Lastly, share your own struggles honestly. I think the biggest thing is in my life and ministry is towards the end of my time as a youth pastor, I really learned how to be honest, open, and transparent. Why? Because there was a generation of students that did not want the cute and cuddly side of things. They wanted real truth. They want real struggles to learn from, and they want to be able to be challenged in their walk with the Lord. And so if I could share my mistakes with them, so then that way when they get to my age, they know, hey, this is something that Tim did. Hey, maybe there's a way that we can go around it. Maybe there's a way we can go. Or, hey, you share your struggles. Hey, I failed in this area, and here's what got me back up. Here's what allowed me to not stay there. And I think if you share honestly the mistakes and the struggles you made and you give them practical tips on how to grow from that, it changes everything. This is why I'm doing school assemblies and why I travel and do churches and retreats and conferences. This is why I'm doing a podcast. Because I want to be a voice of hope. I want to be able to share with this next generation that there are people that matter for them. There are people that are encouraging to them. And I want to show up for them. Because a lot of times, and every time that I've talked to a lot of students, they all can say that there is somebody in their life that is not fully for them. And if I can be that person that they go, but we know Tim is, that's the goal. Here's the main walk away from this. Hope is not optional. It's oxygen for this generation. This generation coming up needs hope because we are in a scary world. We are in a world where older generations, they are really good at what they have carried for a long time and they've worked really, really hard for it. But what does it look like if we shared with this next generation? We give them oxygen, which is hope. And we fuel that with them by encouraging them, by loving them and showing up for them and being present for them. And so, for me, my prayer for you and my challenge for you is, would you text your kids? Would you, if you're a youth pastor or youth leader, would you text your students? If you're a teacher watching this, would you go into class sometime this week and just say, hey, I just want to let you know, man, I'm for you. I believe in you. I believe that you guys are the next generation that's going to change the face of our world for the better. Would you just encourage them in your own way? Would you pray for them if it's necessary? But what would it look like if we just paused for a moment and let this next generation know that we believe in them and that we support them and we are believing God's best for their life? Well, hey, I want to thank you for spending some time with me today. Tune in next Friday for our next episode. But before that, would you like and subscribe to this channel and to this video? It helps the algorithm and it just kind of helps go out into the YouTube world for other people to see this. So I love you. Thank you. And I'll see you in the next episode.